Welcome and happy holidays. I'm Jessica and I'm with Nexus Youth and Family Services Therapeutic Team. This is our December Wellness Workshop, Giving Yourself Grace. What is negative self-talk? Negative self-talk is a stressful and often involuntary form of self-criticism. The thoughts can be self-deprecating and can even contribute to or stem from mental health concerns or disorders, such as depression, anxiety, and/or obsessive-compulsive disorder. Often, it can become very natural to talk down to ourselves as a protective factor. If we say it first, others can't, or it gives us a reason to justify our mistakes and hide away from our fear of failure. How often do you tell yourself, I blew it? Or, don't bother, you suck at it. Or even believe it when you tell yourself, I'm not lovable. These are common statements that we all tell ourselves that create negative emotions inside of ourselves. The brain's negative biases. Our natural tendency to pay more attention to bad things and overlook good things is a result of evolution. Earlier in human history, paying attention to bad, dangerous, and negative threats in the world was a matter of life or death. Those who were more attuned to danger and who paid more attention to the bad things around them were more likely to survive. This also meant that they were also more likely to hand down those traits. The evolutionary perspective suggests that this tendency to dwell on the negative more than the positive is simply one way our brain tries to keep us safe. This is called negative mind chatter, which is how our brains are pre-wired to hold on to the negative over the positive. Studies conducted by psychologists, where participants were shown pictures of either positive, negative, or neutral images, the results showed that when they observed electrical activity in the brain, negative images produced a much stronger response. Because negative information causes a surge in activity in critical information processing area in our brain, our behaviors and attitudes tend to be shaped more powerfully by bad news, bad experiences, and bad information. Research has shown that negative biases can have a wide variety of effects on how people think, respond, and feel. Some of the everyday areas where you might feel the results of these biases include your relationships, decision-making, and the way you perceive people, including but not limited to hiding depression, anxiety, and experienced trauma. Now, some examples could be when you received a performance review at work. That was quite a positive overall and noted your strong performance and achievements. There were, however, a few constructive comments pointed out in areas where you could improve, and you find yourself fixating on those remarks. Rather than feeling good about the positive aspects of your review, you feel upset and angry about the few critical comments. Another example, you had an argument with your partner, and afterwards you find yourself focusing on all your partner's flaws, instead of acknowledging their good points, and you ruminate over the imperfections. Even the most trivial faults are implied and amplified, while positive characteristics are overlooked. Another example would be you humiliated yourself in front of your friends years ago, and you can still vividly recall the event. You find yourself cringing with embarrassment over it, even though your friends have probably forgotten about it completely. These are all from our negative brain biases. Negative self-talk. Logic to harmful. Negative self-talk can go from logical evaluation of ourselves to fearful and harmful. A logical evaluation of ourselves could sound different depending on the setting, but for example, in a team setting, if you know you're not great at something, then you could say something like this: it's better for everyone that I'm not the spell checker. I am horrible at spelling. Now, that's perfectly logical. However, that can start to decline into many areas of evaluation, such as a more realistic one, like I am terrible at spelling, I've been getting C's. That, however, can continue to decline and lead into fear of, I'm so stupid, I will never get into a good college. This leads into the harmful thoughts, such as, if I can't get into a college, I will never succeed in life. I can't do anything right. If we are not careful about our words to ourselves, then we can cause some real damage. Words are harmful when they come from others, but they are just as harmful when they come from ourselves. Causes of negative self-talk. While negative self-talk can stem from a lack of positive mental health, it can also cause mental health concerns from the overall exposure to the negativity from everyday habits. Some of those habits are not addressing relational problems with those around you. or spending too much time alone instead of venturing out, ignoring that you have a negative self-talk habit. And the most common is surrounding yourself with those who are also negative or negative towards you. Our bodies hold on to so much more than we realize, and when we are using negative self-talk or even negative talk about everyday life, our bodies and minds are listening and holding on to it. More effects of negative self-talk. The negative self-talk can affect us in some damaging ways. On a large scale, a study found that rumination and self-blame over negative events were linked to an increased risk of mental health problems. Focusing on negative thoughts may lead to decreased motivation and greater feelings of helplessness. This type of critical inner dialogue has even been linked to depression and suicidal thoughts. Those who find themselves frequently engaging in negative self-talk tend to be more stressed, due to them altering their reality to create an experience where they don't have the ability to reach their goals. While doing research, I came across a quote from Henry Ford. He once famously said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right." The things we tell ourselves become our reality. Limited thinking creates actual limitations in our lives. The more you tell yourself you can't do something, the higher the chances is you'll eventually believe it. The effects of negative self-talk are never ending. However, few of those effects are limited thinking, feelings of depression, relationship challenges, and diminishing self-esteem. Studies have shown that negative self-talk also often go hand in hand with mental health struggles and personal relationship problems. Focusing on negative self-talk can lead to feelings of hopelessness and depression. And when we're depressed, our inner dialogue can be more negative, creating a vicious cycle. Additionally, the inner critic can quickly turn into a more vocal critic and pushing us the other way. According to the University of Minnesota, negative attitudes and feelings of helplessness and hopelessness can create chronic stress, which upsets the body's hormone balance and depletes the brain's chemicals required for happiness and damages our immune system. Chronic stress can decrease our lifespan. Science has now identified that stress shortens the end caps of our DNA, which causes us to age more quickly. So not only is negative self-talk affecting our brains mentally, it's also affecting our bodies physically. It is taking away valuable time of our lives. The holiday blues and negative self-talk. The holiday blues are temporary feelings of anxiety and depression that are brought on by the holiday season. The feelings can be associated with extra stress, unrealistic expectations, and even hard memories that accompany the season. This time of year can be very stressful and exhausting. It is so easy to feel the blues and negative self-talk. Feelings of worthlessness and failure ring strong this time of year. It is important to remember that no one can do it all. Things that you can do to help with the holiday blues is sticking to your normal routine as much as possible, knowing your limitations, and setting a reasonable holiday expectations. Create yourself a budget and remember that time spent with loved ones is not only affordable, but the memories are priceless. Take time for yourself, but don't isolate, and create a to-do list to help keep you on track. All of these simple tasks can help create success and cut down the feelings of failure and the reason for the negative self-talk. Ways to stop negative self-talk. Reframing. Would you tell your best friend that they're incapable or not good enough? It's highly unlikely that you would. You might tell them that they are good enough, that things can be hard, and that they just need to keep going, that you believe in them. Think of your inner dialogue as you talking to someone you believe and care for, or a child who needs encouragement to learn something new. Would you say these negative thoughts to your child? Would you want them to create the same negative self-talk habits? They learn their habits through you and your actions. Not only is your own brain listening to you, but so is theirs. Some ways that you can reframe. Replace your negative thoughts with positive or even neutral ones. One very powerful technique is taking your negative statements and replacing them with positive or neutral statements in its place. I'm terrible at my job would become, I'm great at my job, or simply, I am doing my best at my job. Every time that thought pops in the future, swap it with something more positive. Next is to shift your perspective. it can be easy to become overwhelmed and disillusioned with different situations in life. Try to shift your perspective. Ask yourself if a particular circumstance will matter in 5 or even 10 years. Often the answer is no, thus helping to put the situation into perspective. Life happens, creating situations that can be good or bad, or they can just be a situation you have to face. It is important to remember that changing your perspective can change the way you think about a situation. For example, your car is breaking down just past your house before you make it into the city. Now, if it had broken down in the city, you could have gotten into a car accident or been stuck somewhere and had to figure a way out, or a tow truck. But now, you can save yourself time and money by being able to walk home and avoid an accident. No matter the situation, there is always a better view of it in the negative one. The same is to be said about ourselves. Not everyone is going to be great at everything that they try their hand at. It is about learning our strong suits and know how we can use them to get through what life throws at us. It is important to remember that what we surround ourselves with is what we invite into our world. If we are constantly negative, the negative will always find us. Remember to turn your I can'ts into I cans. More ways to stop negative self-talk. Here's a simple activity you can do every day to help reframe your brain. Each day, write down something good that happened to you, or something you love about yourself. Inspire yourself, motivate, be positive, and be creative. A positive exercise. The woman is crying. What do you see when you see her crying? Do you see sadness and heartbreak and negativity? Or do you see the slight smile on her face, a little bit of joy in her eyes, and a few tears rolling down her face because something joyous has happened? Tears don't always mean something bad. They can be great too. And the same is for any aspect that we look at. Not every negative is a negative. There's a lot more positive in the world than we give ourselves the ability to see. Resources to stop negative self-talk. Shine is a text message service based on the idea that sometimes you need some external phrases to guide your internal positive thinking. All you have to do is visit the website and you'll have the ability to sign up to receive daily text messages. All you need to provide is your first name and a phone number. Then, Monday through Friday, you'll receive one message per day with an inspirational quote from successful people. There are links to research-backed articles you can use as motivation and tips on actions you can take to feel more positive in your daily life. According to their website, 93% of people who use the Shine text feel more confident and have seen a significant improvement in their daily life. There's also the app called I Am, which will give you daily inspirational quotes based off what you feel you need to help you with your positive thinking in your daily life. However, if you prefer books, here are some bestsellers on the Amazon list. For positive thinking, we have A Year of Positive Thinking, Daily Inspiration, Wisdom, and Courage. Or you can also try The Art of Positive Thinking, a step-by-step guide to emotional intelligence. However, if you prefer a podcast and love to listen, then here's some ones you can listen to. According to Oprah Daily, the top podcast is The Science of Happiness. Some podcasts out there are about living better, a cheerier life, or more anecdotal, but The Science of Happiness has the facts. Hosted by Kettler, the founder of the University of California, Berkeley's Greater Good Science Center. This show explores topics like the value of outdoor time, connecting with your elders, and sciencing your inner critic. However, if you like a shorter podcast, this next one is also on the top list. It's one of the top 3 podcasts on the Oprah Daily. It does have a shorter podcast. It's under 30 minutes. And according to the website here at The Kindness Podcast, we are on a mission to teach the world about the transformation of power of kindness. Come along as Nicole Phillips talks with authors, teachers, musicians, and other fun, fantastic folks. It'll make your day brighter, guaranteed. You can also take some time for self-care. Even if it's just once a week where you take time to spend 10 to 15 minutes for yourself, or maybe you do it daily in the morning or at night before bed, take 5 minutes to do something that's just for you. There's also those self-love notes. Writing yourself little notes, telling yourself how awesome you are can really help change your outlook and your thinking. So give these resources a try. Thank you for taking the time to listen today. We hope this brings you guidance to embrace your positive and let go of your negative. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And remember to give yourself grace.